Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 7 of my Relay Computer video series, and in this episode I'll be talking about the arithmetic and logic unit. Now, quick disclaimer. In this episode I'll be talking a lot about full adders, so if you have no idea what they are or how to implement them using relays, check out the link right here. This is episode 3 of my Relay Computer video series, and go through this and then come back. This is the symbol of an ALU. It takes two inputs, does some arithmetic or logical operation on it, and it generates a result. The operation it performs on its two inputs depends on the control lines and how they've been set. So activating one control line could mean A and B are being added together and sent to the output. Some other control line could mean they are being odd together to generate an output. The first question that came to my mind was, what all operations does an ALU perform? And a straightforward answer to that is, it performs the operations it has been designed to perform. So in short, I have to choose what all operations I want my ALU to perform, and I went with 6 operations. 2 of them were arithmetic operations, one of which was addition. So I wanted the ALU to add A and B and generate a result. A second was increment. So I wanted the ALU to take the input A, add 1 to it and generate the result. And I wanted the ALU to perform 4 logical operations: a bitwise XOR operation between A and B, a bitwise NOT operation with just the A input, a bitwise AND operation between A and B, and a bitwise OR operation between A and B. Once the operations were decided, I had to figure out how to actually implement this in terms of a circuit. One of the most common ways of implementing an ALU were you implement all the circuits individually. So you make a separate adder, a separate incrementer, and separate logic gates. Then you take your 2 inputs and connect them to all the circuits at the same time. So now all of these individual circuits are taking the same 2 inputs and computing all the results in parallel. Once you have computed all the results in parallel, you send it to a multiplexer, which then decides which of these results should be sent to the final output of the ALU. And of course, the select lines of this multiplexer act like control lines that actually help us decide which result is available on the output. While the solution is very straightforward and elegant, there is just one shortcoming, that it takes just too many relays. Let's try and calculate how many relays will a single bit ALU require. A single bit full adder requires 4 relays. A single bit incrementer requires 2 relays. A single bit XOR gate requires 2 relays. Single bit NOT gate is 1 relay. Single bit AND 1 relay. OR gate requires no relays, and that gives us a total of 10 relays. Now remember, these are just the operations that are being performed on the 2 inputs. We still have to multiplex them and send them to the output of the ALU. So let's figure out how many relays do we need for a multiplexer. Now, from episode 2, I've already told you how a multiplexer works and how a single relay can be used as a 2-to-1 multiplexer. So instead of using the symbol on the left, I'll be using the symbol on the right for simplicity. Technically, we need a multiplexer that has 6 inputs for our 6 different operations. Unfortunately, multiplexer inputs come in powers of 2. So you can either have a 4-input multiplexer or an 8-input multiplexer. So this is the 8-input multiplexer, and it requires 7 relays for implementation. Now what we need to do is we need to add the results of our 6 operations to the inputs, and the output of this multiplexer will be the final result. Now after doing this, you might notice on the bottom there's one multiplexer that is not being used at all. So we can actually get rid of that, reducing the number of multiplexers to just 6. So let's add that to our number of relays. So adding 6, we need 16 relays to make a single bit ALU. Now remember, this is just for a single bit ALU. In reality, we need an 8-bit arithmetic and logic unit. So we actually need to multiply this number by 8, and that gives us 128 relays in total to implement an 8-bit arithmetic and logic unit. Now, I don't know about you guys, but using 128 relays just to perform 6 simple operations seems kind of excessive. So this solution is a big no-no.
No.
I mean, what difference does it make?
No.
There is a reason why I call my computer the RC275, and that is I've only used 275 relays to implement the whole computer. So it's obvious that I didn't use this 128 relay solution. Here's what I did instead. I started off with the most complex circuit, which amongst these operations was the adder. And I thought of modifying this adder itself to implement the rest of the operations. So addition it already does. Let's try and figure out how to do an increment operation. So this is our goal, s equals a plus 1. This circuit already gives me this equation, which is s equals a plus b plus carry in, and this is something I've covered in episode 3 as well. Normally we set carry in 0 as 0 so that the complete equation can be just a plus b. But what if we set this to 1? In that case, the result is going to be a plus b plus 1. Now we just have to figure out a way to set b to 0, and our final result is going to be a plus 1. So for that, I took my full adder circuit and I added an extra relay in front of the B input, and I labeled the coil as control line 1. Normally the B input is connected to the full adder, but if I activate this relay, the B gets disconnected from the full adder and the input always stays 0. Now that we figured this out, let's put it on a table. So we have the carry in signal and the control line 1. For addition, we don't need to activate anything since this circuit is normally adding the two numbers. But for the increment operation, we activate both these control lines. Now let's look at the logical operations. Now for the logical operations, the first thing I did was I decomposed this full adder circuit into the two half adders and the OR gate. Then I again decomposed the half adders into the XOR gate and the AND gate. Once this was done, I took the sum output and I wrote down the Boolean equation for it. The sum output is an XOR operation between A and B, which is then XORed with carry in. Now the first operation I wanted to figure out was the XOR operation. So the goal equation is going to be S equals A XOR B, and that is something that is already available in the equation. I just have to figure out what to do with the carry in here. Now the carry in is being XORed with this function we want. So let's first look at the XOR gate truth table. This is the XOR gate truth table. The inputs are X and Y, the output is Z, and the output Z is A XORed with Y. Now in this table, if you look closely, you will notice when Y is XORed with 0, the output is the same as Y. And when Y is XORed with 1, the output is the opposite of Y, or the complement of Y. So with this, you can clearly say that anything XORed with 0 is itself, and anything XORed with 1 is its complement. With this information, we can clearly see that if I set carry in to 0, in that case, A XOR B XORed with 0 is just going to be A XOR B. And that is our final goal. Now the question is, how do you set carry in to 0? To do that, well, we follow the same process as the B input. So we add an extra relay in front of the carry in. We call the coil as control line 2. And now if I activate control line 2, carry in becomes 0. Now let's update this in our control word table. So for the XOR operation, we have an extra control line 2 and we need to activate that. Now since add and increment operation we've already figured out, we just fill the table with zeros. The next operation in line is the NOT operation. So the goal equation is S equals A complement or A dash. In order to achieve this, I first set B to 0. Now we already know from our XOR gate table that anything XORed with 0 is itself. So A XORed with 0 is going to be A. Now we're just left with carry in. Now from the XOR gate table, we already know that anything XORed with 1 is its complement. So if I set carry into 1, A XOR 1 is going to be A dash, and that's our final result. So now we have to set B to 0 and carry into 1. We already know how to set B to 0. We just need to figure out how to set carry into 1. And for that, you'll notice in the carry in relay, there is one terminal that's empty. And on that terminal, I can add the control line 3. So now if I activate control line 2, carry in becomes 0. And if I activate control line 3 as well, carry in is always going to be 1. With this figured out, let's update the control word table. So now we have an extra control line. And for the NOT operation, we need to set B to 0. So we activate control line 1. We want to set carry into 1. So we activate control line 2 and 3. And since the previous 3 operations have been figured out already, we just fill the table with zeros. Next, let's figure out the AND and the OR operation. Up till now, we've been using the sum out of the full adder as the final output of our ALU. But what if we considered carry out as the output of our ALU? Now to do that, we first have to make sure that the carry out can be sent to the output of the ALU, and for that, in front of the sum and the carry output of our full adder, I added a 2-to-1 multiplexer, and the select line I called it as control line 4. Let's update the control word, and now let's figure out how to get the AND and the OR operation. So just like the sum output, we need to first figure out the Boolean equation of the carry out, and this is the Boolean equation for the carry out. Now the carry out is an OR operation between two functions. One of these two functions is A and B, and the other function is an AND operation between carry in and a third function. This third function is an XOR operation between A and B. At this moment, I would recommend you pause the video for once and relook at this equation, because I know initially this looks a bit confusing. Let's move on. Now the first operation I wanted to figure out was the AND operation. So the goal equation is carry out equals A and B, and conveniently that is already available in our equation. I just have to figure out how to get rid of this remaining part of the equation. A and B is being ORed with this second half of the equation. So let's first take a look at the OR gate truth table. So this is the truth table for an OR gate, and here you can clearly notice when Y is ORed with 0, the output is the same as Y. So anything ORed with 0 is itself. So if I can somehow set this part of the equation to be 0, our final result will be A and B. How do we do that? Well, let's try setting carry into 0. This 0 is being ANDed with the A XOR B operation. So let's take a look at the AND gate truth table now. This is the AND gate truth table, and from this you can clearly make out when Y is ANDed with 0, the output is 0. So anything ANDed with 0 is 0. So with that, we can clearly see that A XOR B ANDed with 0 is going to be 0. So that's our AND operation. With all this, we can conclude that in order to get A and B, we just have to set carry into 0, and we have to look at carry out as the final output. So let's update our control word table. For the AND operation, we activate control line 2, so that sets carry into 0, and we activate control line 4, which sends carry out to the output of the ALU. Now since the rest of the operations we've already figured out, we just fill that with zeros, and let's move on to the final operation, the OR operation. Now for the OR operation, our goal equation is carry out equals A or B. To get this equation, the first thing I did was I set carry into 1. Now if we look at the AND gate truth table, we can clearly see when Y is ANDed with 1, the output is the same as Y. So anything ANDed with 1 is itself. Hence, A XOR B ANDed with 1 will be A XOR B. The next thing we need to do is to figure out how to get an OR operation from this equation. And to do that, the simplest way I figured out was to actually start making the truth table for this specific equation. So here's what I did. I wrote down A and B separately. I wrote down A XOR B truth table separately. I took those results, I ORed them together, so you have X or Y, and it generates the result Z. Now this Z is actually the final result of the equation you saw previously. Next to this truth table, I also placed the truth table of A or B. And to my surprise, the results of these two tables actually match. So in essence, this equation is the same as A or B. So now to get the OR operation, all you need to do is set carry into 1 and send the carry out signal to the output. So how do you do that? Well, in order to set carry into 1, we activate control lines 2 and 3. And to send the carry out signal to the output, we activate control line 4. And that completes our control word table. And since we have figured out all the operations we wanted, we don't need to further modify this circuit, and this is the final single bit ALU circuit. To make things a little bit clearer, let me decompose this full adder circuit into its relay implementation. So this is our final single bit ALU that uses only 7 relays. With the single bit ALU designed and the control word table ready, all that is left is the circuit board design itself. And that is something I'm going to cover in the next episode. Till then, if you like the video series so far, you subscribe to my channel. If you like this specific video, hit the like button, put a few comments, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.